All right. Okay. I think we should, kick our webinar off. Everybody can see my screen. And yeah, let you get started, Craig.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thanks to everybody who took the time to come today. We're very pleased to be putting this on. We've had a lot of interest, in this topic. So we were excited to put this together so that we can share with you some of the things that are possible. We're also really honored and pleased to have Rob here, who is a living example of what is possible with our two systems, and that they've been able to implement that. So you'll be hearing more from Rob here in just a little bit. He is the founder and CEO of Data Image Group in the UK. And they're somebody who they know a little bit about automation. In fact, if you ever have time to look up some of their videos of the actual literal robots they have in their shop, it's pretty cool stuff. So Rob will talk to you here in a little bit about what they've been able to do. But, to kick things off, just for anybody who is not familiar with who printIQ is, I'd like to just take a moment and share a little bit about us. So we are a cloud-based MIS system, but really what we are is a managed workflow solution for businesses. So we help power the core of a print business. And that's everything in the same platform, all the way from the estimate level, through to the production floor, for all of the job ticketing, the job tracking, logging your time on the job, what the cost, time and materials, all of the data that goes into a job gets put there, and it follows through all the way to finishing, all the way then into shipping and delivering to the customer. You've got one central platform to handle all of those needs. And, we've got some really game-changing things under the hood with the IQ logic that's inside of our platform to allow you to really unlock the power in the quote. You are able, with our cloud-based platform, to enable anyone in your facility that you want to give access to have the ability to interact with your system and get an estimate quickly, accurately. And and then also even give access through portals to your customers if you want to let them order through the platform. So we have been around for a little over 20 years now, and we've been steadily growing in that time. We have over 65 staff in 8 locations across 5 countries in the world. This really allows us to, the sun never sets on our productivity as far as, working on innovations and being able to handle customer needs and requests. We've got thousands of users, hundreds of companies worldwide that have relied on IQ for a number of years to help run the core of their business. We really believe in innovation and integration and automation within our company. It's not just something we use as a buzzwords, or marketing speak. It truly is something that we put a lot of time and effort into listening to what people need and trying to build out a platform that meets those needs. We invest heavily back into the R&D in our business because we are always believing in pushing the product forward and really basing what we do for customers around what they need and listening to them. So yeah, our development team, we're all based in-house. We don't outsource to anybody else. So we have a team of dedicated people who are, constantly working to make the product better and listen to the needs of users. We also add new features every quarter. We're pretty aggressive in that regard, and that we try to, have 2 to 3 releases every year where we're rolling out new features there. The other groundbreaking thing I'd say in our platform is that while some other options out there in the market, you might need to get one to do a certain thing like labels, and you may need to get another to do, digital or traditional print. You're actually able to do all of that within our platform. So you can mix all those different disciplines in there, which really gives you, power to have all of your data and jobs into one place. Over the last few years, we have expanded into the UK and also into North America and are really starting to make a splash and grab a foothold there. The great thing about our product is you get a whole lot of functionality and power right in the core of our product. You're able to handle all of those main areas that you see on the screen there are all part of the core product that give you everything you need to run your business, as I said earlier, from the quote all the way through to the delivered product to your customer. But then beyond that, if you need to expand, we do offer further integrations, as you're seeing today, with partner companies that allow us to integrate with other leading products to take automation further, or to even automate things like pre-press, workflows, imposition, all kinds of different options you have there. We've got a really great track record of working with all of those partner companies to push what's possible and to expand on the capabilities. They're pre-existing, a lot of those, but if you also are ever looking to integrate with something else, we're always more than happy to scope what's possible and figure out a way to work through that through our API connectivity. So that's us, in a brief little update there. If you'd like more information, you want to read some great articles, you can definitely visit us, printIQ.com. If you're ready to start a conversation, we've got the Let's Talk button there on the site. Feel free to schedule a time for us to do more of a personalized demo for you and answer any questions that you might have, and love to hear from you guys.
Great. Thanks so much, Craig. I also just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for being on the call today. I'm Kylie. I'm the founder of Squirrel Business Solutions. We are Melbourne-based in Australia. We are in our 9th year and have about a team of 10 people, so not quite as big as printIQ quite yet. We are CRM implementation consultants and integration specialists. Our team is made up of consultants, of developers, general IT support people, and data analysts as well. In terms of the approach that we take when working with a client and the 4 areas I think that we make a real impact on, helping businesses choose the right systems and make sure that they're talking to each other. So that integration piece. We're then usually given a big old list of things to streamline and make more efficient within the business. We're then looking at unlocking the value of those integrations and the data that's been, or the processes that have been streamlined. So that might be dashboards for management, sales teams, that kind of thing. And then overarchingly, we're looking at enhancing customer experience through marketing tools and better insights so that you can actually be, just delivering overarchingly a better customer experience. I thought I would kick off today just talking a little bit about what CRM actually is. So, I think we all know the acronym, Client Relationship Management Software, but it's so much more than that. CRM is about capturing data from multiple places and keeping and putting it in one central place, which I think is a little bit like a squirrel. Squirrels gather up their nuts from all over the place and create a little roadmap and hide them away for later when they need them. So that gives you a little bit of a tip as to where the name Squirrel for our company came from. Digital tools are a real need in business now, and it's really important that they work together. So I'd probably ask you guys at this moment to have a little think about how many systems you're actually using in your business. Maybe jot them down and have a think about later, like, are they actually all connected and talking to each other? So you can see on the screen just a few ideas about systems that a typical business would use, be it online forms or analytics, dashboard, marketing tools and the like. You can swap out your systems within there. I mentioned earlier that there's a list of items that we're often asked to streamline. People come to us with a whole bunch of problems, quite typically. and say, how can you help me with these things? So some examples of those might be a web form integration. So making sure that leads that are coming through into your business are being triaged in a really consistent way and qualified and assigned out to who they need to go to. People also have asked us to integrate with software that does credit checks. So that might be part of your lead qualification process, or just making sure that the businesses that you are working with are still of a financially healthy state as you progress the relationship. We also do things like automate out emails, follow-up emails for low-hanging fruit, lower value quotes, so that your sales team can actually focus on things that are important. We might also automate emails out to confirm orders that have been placed, or when items or jobs are ready to dispatch. It might be new customer onboarding processes, new supplier onboarding processes. This is all information that needs to be gathered, and traditional systems or traditional ways of doing that is quite paper-based, as opposed to using an online form and pushing that information where it needs to go in a really efficient way. Couple of other things: sales to budget tracking dashboards, even just sales pipeline. And the other one might be like quality control checks and issue tracking. All of that can be done through forms and in the CRM as well. So what does all this mean? I think there's three key impacts or positive benefits that you can experience with an integrated solution for your business. The first one is a unified real-time platform. So getting that critical snapshot of customer data and having it in a central place for everybody in the business to look for or look at. At Squirrel, we call this customer visibility, or CV for short. The data can come from multiple systems: MIS, finance, marketing. The other key thing about having that unified platform is it's not uncommon for businesses to say to me, you know, my account managers or customer service reps are copying and pasting data between systems, or they're having to ask the accounts team if a customer is financially healthy. If you've got even one person spending 30 minutes a day doing that, I mean, you do the math on the time that could be saved and where that team member's time could be better spent. The second thing would be achieving time to market. So this is about the speed that you can go at to triage new inquiry, move it through to quote quite quickly and close that off. CRM delivers real sales tools for your account managers and sales team. A couple of really simple examples that I have mentioned before are qualifying leads and automating follow-ups for low-hanging fruit. This might also be extended if we're thinking about printIQ integrated with CRM to communication on jobs. So an example might be that there'll be parts in your process where things might be getting stuck. So it might be a request to a customer to proof a job. If a customer service rep has got 20 or 30 of those that they're supposed to be managing, I can imagine it'd be pretty easy for those to fall off a team's radar and perhaps cause delays in production, therefore job completion and ultimately invoicing. Third one is metrics for decisions. I know I've talked about this a little bit already, but again, it's that bringing everything into one spot. Some really simple examples might be tracking when the last purchase date was for customers and having alerts that if they're falling out of their typical buying patterns, that the team actually know and can get in touch with them. We can also set up managed call cycles based on rating of clients. So if you've got, you know, A-list clients that need to be touched every month or more often, we can actually automate that and keep customers sticky and have you kind of on the front foot as opposed to reacting to things. The other thing would be pushing in information about job cost, perhaps even about margins, freight tracking. All of that information can be coming through. And the one other thing that I know perhaps Rob will talk to us about is the ability to actually identify issues a little bit earlier. So helping to reduce that unplanned work or identifying areas where you can get on the front foot. I really think unplanned work is just such a productivity killer at this point. I'm going to do just a really quick demo in printIQ's system of how the integration between the CRM and printIQ can work. So just bear with me for a moment. I'll get a couple of things up on the screen. So what I've got on the screen at the moment is just going to pop back to here. So on the left side of the screen is Zoho CRM and a company record. And then over on the right, which many of you are familiar with, is printIQ. So the way the integration works is when a new company and contact is created in either system, this can be triggered from, but typically it starts from the CRM. A new company will be created, and the fields that are mapped in the integration will push over and create a new customer in IQ and pull information through. So things like the website, the phone number, address information's coming across. Updates to that data can be changed in either system and will sync back across almost instantaneously. It's really up to you guys, what information you want across, who's got the ability to change it or update it, but that can all be kind of worked through. The second part of the integration is quotes. So the typical flow for the integration would be that when a quote is raised in printIQ against a company, that then pushes over and creates a quote record in the CRM, a quote or a deal record. Again, we can change up the names according to what your language is in the business. It will push across just key information. So it will name the record, who it's being sent to, pricing information, as I said, quote, like margins, freight, that kind of thing can also be pushed across. A description of what's actually being quoted can be pushed across as well. And we've also usually push across a link to the actual quote in printIQ, so making it really easy to access that quote from within the system. Again, we're wanting efficiencies here and not having people jumping in between systems to find things. The integration will update the stage or the status of the deal in CRM. So you can see this one's sitting at proposal quote, which is where it might start when you first send the quote from printIQ. So when it's awaiting acceptance, the corresponding status over here would be proposal quote. As that job progresses, we are then updating these stages. So when it's accepted, it would update to close one, or again, you could change that naming to quote accepted. And we can trigger emails and automation and reporting off the back of those updates. If the pricing, if the quote is varied in printIQ, again, those updates are pushed through to here, including updated products that are on there, value, etc. Extending that just a little bit more, you can have other stages against the job, so that after it's accepted, we're also pushing back job information. So that ties back into doing alerts, etc., based on where the job is in production. So it might well go from accepted to in production, that it's dispatched, we can send out emails, that it's invoiced, we can be pushing that invoice data back into the CRM so that you know when it's paid, and kind of run your reporting that's really accurate and in time based on the data that's in here. I'm quite keen to hear from Rob at this point, to just hear a little bit about what your experience has been, Rob, building out a system, an integrated solution. I know it's an ongoing journey, so yeah, I'm keen to hear what your experience has been.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Kylie. Firstly, obviously, thanks for inviting me along and for me to be able to share some of our stories about our integration and automation journey. If I just kind of briefly, people who are watching are fully familiar with Data Image. Obviously, we're a wide format digital print business. Actually, this year's our 30th year. We've always been driven around technology. That's kind of something I'm really passionate about. I've made a few notes. I liked the one Craig used at the beginning, managed workflow. What does managed workflow kind of look like for Data Image? We use a phrase in our business, which is, if it doesn't add value, then automate it. So that's kind of, whenever we look at any project we're looking to do, we always kind of come at it from, why have we got somebody sat there, maybe either raising an invoice or adding a contact onto a CRM, into our accounts application, into a printIQ, maybe into TNT, whatever system, why are we double entering all the time? So we always come at it, there's no value in that. So, from the top line, we always come at everything from if it doesn't add value, then how do we automate it? Obviously, we started this journey of integrating or rationalizing our complete software platforms within our business, kind of probably about a year before COVID kind of kicked in. Then obviously COVID started, so it was a fantastic opportunity for us to accelerate that journey. So whenever we look for any technology, we're always looking, does it firstly have an API? Can we integrate? Can we get packages talking together? And that has a massive, massive impact on our productivity. If I said to everybody, what does growth look like within your business? We are really focused on how do we make more money from less top line revenue, and automation has a massive, massive, massive impact on that within our business. I can't stress how big an impact that has. So it's great growing that top line, but equally, how are you scaling that bottom and how we're controlling that is driven by removing human touch points, double entry, integration. So for us, this journey is this coming up to April the 1st, the beginning of our next financial year, we'll have been now working with the guys at Squirrel, with Kylie and her team, which has been fantastic, and the team driven by Mr. Bromley at printIQ has been fantastic. I think firstly, those two companies for us have been really key in that journey because they kind of understand automation, they understand integration. The Zoho platform, we use the complete Zoho platform called Zoho One. It's a suite of 50 applications, so it allowed us to kind of get rid of not just CRM, because we were using like Salesforce, but we were able to get rid of our expenses app and move to a Zoho expenses app, loads and loads of applications. And the first thing that does is they all integrate super smoothly together. And then obviously we've integrated Zoho CRM into printIQ, and then we use Zero Accounts. So for us, it's that seamless integration is just amazing. From my phone, I can see exactly what our business is and where it is, from anywhere in the world, 24/7, and that, which is fantastic. And I think, you know, you covered on like data. You know, we all capture so much data within our business. We actually probably don't use that to the best of our abilities. We do, you know, again, you know, I've got another phrase, you know, what gets measured gets managed, gets done, you know, so it allows us to really dynamically change our business. And outlook, maybe should we take that on this job, you know, should we, you know, we have classification for our customers, you know, should we now not move forward with that customer? We can really make some fantastic, you know, decisions based around, you know, great qualification of based on the data that we're capturing. Enables us to do that by integrating. We've just literally only last night had 2 reports built in IQ to kind of start measuring all various stuff to do with deliveries from our client to our clients that, you know, we will feed back into Zoho CRM. That, you know, if people aren't, if people, in my eyes, if people aren't using CRM, and they've got that integrated into their, you know, printIQ solution, you know, it's definitely worth doing. It's a, you know, it's a it makes huge productivity gains to what you're doing.
I know, Rob, one of the in one of the conversations that you and I have had, you said, you know, I want to be able to look on my phone and have my set of beach reports.
Yeah, that's what we call it, the data image beach app. You know, yeah, if everything's green, we can stay on the sun lounge or on holiday, having another beer. If it's going orange, then we can kind of start to drill in, and then obviously if it's red, you know, I'm back on the plane. Yeah, no, so yeah, yeah, absolutely. And again, I think, you know, as you mentioned, you know, we're talking about customers here, and as customers are equally, you know, are really highly important to our business, but equally so are our suppliers. So actually, we manage our suppliers through our CRM as well. As you know, Kylie, we've been doing a lot of work around how we onboard suppliers through our CRM. And again, you know, when we add a supplier on, I've just added one on before coming on this call. You know, we're adding a supplier on, and then that syncs those to printIQ. It syncs it into Xero. You know, it's done. It's set up. You know, all the terms and conditions, payment days. You know, bank account details. It's done in one place. So it makes it super slick to manage our customers and our suppliers through the CRM.
I think I've probably got one other question that I think is probably worth sharing with people, Rob. Could you give people some understanding of how long it's taken? I mean, I know that you say there's an iterative process and you're constantly adding in new pieces, but how long do you think it took for you to go from thinking, right, we need to streamline things to get to where you are today, you know, or get to a pretty good place?
You know, I mean, at the time when we rolled out printIQ, and you know, we just didn't change that. We changed every single software system in our business, so it was kind of, you know, it was a massive undertaking. You know, the only remaining piece of software we had prior to that was that journey was Xero. So, but actually, what are you talking about? The integration between printIQ, or if you're setting printIQ up, setting the CRM up?
Yeah, I think it's both of those things. I know one of the questions that I'm often asked is, so how long is this going to take? You know, we want this yesterday. We want all this great stuff, but you know, it's a lot of change, as you say. So
I mean, I think part of the, you know, we were fortunate. We're driven by, as a business, we're quite heavily driven by process. So to begin with, our data, we had good data. It was pretty clean, you know, it was reasonably up to date, but we did use that as a great opportunity to cleanse our data when we were about to migrate. But you know, COVID kind of got in the way for us. So I think, you know, we would have built IQ quicker than what we did. And two, obviously we had all the other projects of integrating and, you know, our RIPs and, you know, changing our workflow solution that sits behind IQ that, you know, we communicate even into CRM with. But, you know, I'd say kind of eight 8 to 10 months, you know, from a start to a go live, I think is, you know, if you're, you know, is more than doable. You know, and obviously we were covering quite lots of new ground in new areas. So, you know, I suppose you know, we've been through some of that pain of some of those kind of early things where we're kind of scratching our heads how we're going to do it, and, you know, have we got that function, and, you know, there's been some development. So now obviously lots of those things are done. So, you know, I think somebody else could be, you know, quicker if they're really focused around that implementation. But it's about, you know, gathering your data, you know, are your price lists up to date from your suppliers, you know, all of that.
Yeah, that's definitely a key part of any implementation.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then what do you want to see? Because you can get buried in data if you're not careful. You know, you can say, oh, we'd like to measure this and have all of that information, and actually really what value again. So it's what, you know, what value does that bring to you? Maybe brings to your customer. You know, a couple of these reports that we've just generated are going to add some real value to one of the reports, add some real value to our business from our sustainability journey. And the other one's going to share some light to our customers about how they can change their direction of what they're using as materials. So, and maybe how we ship things. So, you know, it's,
I think that's, you know, there's been some great nuggets in there. I really like the you know, what you measure, you can then manage and actually get done. I think that's just a really critical.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes, you know, sometimes when you then look at that data, because now it's, I mean, we reconcile literally to the penny. You know, we've never done that ever before. You know, you'd say, oh, that's easy, or it should do, but you know, when we create a job and create a quote and it's in the CRM and rounding up and rounding down and then it going into zero and coming back round, and you know, that is for us is a whole closed loop. It you know, it reconciles every month to the penny, which is just, you know, which is great. You know, from that we can, you know, it's just solid, it's good solid data that we can, you know, rely on.
That's great.
And the CRM, you know, for me, the CRM, that both the systems are fantastic, but you know, and equally the CRM for me is, you know, IQ is super important from a costing perspective, but couple that with the CRM, you know, it becomes this one world where we, you know, the CRM is our go-to to kind of then dive out of that into IQ. To go and maybe look at the quote that somebody's done, like you showed there, a link to it, you know, looking at the status of that. It's you know, it's so powerful.
Yeah, it really is. And I know we've talked quite a bit about Zoho, and Rob has obviously talked about Zoho a reasonable amount as well. And I just want to make the point that you know, we also have integrated solutions for Salesforce and HubSpot. Quite keen to hear from people if, you know, what CRM you're using, and you're welcome to type in some questions if you like to ask either Rob or Craig or myself at this point in time, and we'll do our best to answer them. I'm going to pop a couple of polls up. So the first one is, you know, what CRM system are you actually using in your business, if at all? You can just, you know, quickly kind of pop that in. And yeah, if you've got any questions for Rob or the rest of us, by all means, just pop them in. I think, Rob, just one other quick question that I had for you. You mentioned doing that data cleanup. Do you feel that was that something that you did beforehand, or as part of, you know, did you start before? So a question that people often ask me is, well, when should we be starting to look at our data? And I tend to say straight away, because it's the thing that takes the longest, right?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was a great opportunity, you know, to kind of look at from a customer and a supplier's perspective, you know, right, you know, how many of those contacts at the customers are alive, or have they moved on? You know, are we still dealing with that customer? Are we still dealing with that supplier? So we kind of, you know, there was no point kind of exporting, you know, hundreds or thousands of records, you know, and importing those into a nice new clean system when we're not dealing with those. So yeah, absolutely, if you can do that prior to starting that, you know, it's clean, you know, it's nice, you know, your system becomes, you know, clean and not cluttered with old news, old records that you're not going to need moving forward. You know, you can always add those on, the odd one on that you've missed, but at least it's not just full of rubbish.
Yeah, absolutely. Rubbish in and garbage data out, right?
Yeah.
So we do have just one question from Craig, another Craig. We're just asking to talk a little bit about the HubSpot integration with printIQ. It essentially does exactly what the Zoho CRM one does. You choose which system you want to be the source of truth. The APIs are a little bit different, but we can still sync across all the same fields, trigger the same actions and automations over in HubSpot as well. I do have actual short demo videos that I can send everybody that show those integrations working. So just definitely reach out and I can send those across. Brian's actually asking what was the single biggest challenge integrating Zoho to IQ and what you would do differently if you did it again, Rob?
I don't think there was the single biggest challenge. I think one of the things, one of the things we decided quite early on is like, which is going to be the master? Yeah. Should we go and add it into printIQ and be pushing them printIQ to the CRM, or should we add it in the CRM and push it there? So we, you know, it is about setting some good disciplines with the team. For us, you know, the master is everything starts live in the CRM. And I suppose when you kind of think about it, it's kind of right, you know, because it might be a lead that you're going to move from a lead into a live, you know, customer. So adding them in the CRM. And that's the same when we're now even adding a supply. You've got to kind of stay quite disciplined to that process, because, you know, our accounts lady might go, oh, we need to just, you know, she could go and alter the terms in Xero. So we say no, don't ever alter anybody, a contact or a company's address or within IQ or Xero. We always do it in the CRM and let it push that sync out. We find you know, has been a great discipline and has kept that really that synchronization really simple and clean and in sync. So as far as actually the integration part, you know, I suppose it's just deciding, like anything, you know, field names are slightly different, you know, terminologies. So just kind of going, right, you know, what does that, you know, yeah, do we need this field? What do we need to sync, you know, either way? So, but, you know, again, Carly, when we did that, you know, that exercise, you did a great job there, because, you know, we managed that through, you know, a Google sheet with a spreadsheet, kind of with the tables of what happens in IQ and what happens in, you know, in Zoho, and that'd be the same for HubSpot.
Yeah, for sure. We've probably got time for a couple of other questions. Yeah. One of them, Rob, was what was the reason or reasons that you moved to IQ as an MIS?
We'd been with a previous solution that, you know, done as a fantastic job for kind of 10 years. But ultimately, you know, the success of our business as we grow and move forward is about connectivity. you know, whatever that is. You know, we're doing some integrations that, you know, just wacky at the moment, you know, you wouldn't have thought was possible. So for me, it was the reason for it was 2-3 things really. Our existing solution was an installed application, and that, you know, is not the way to build an application really these days, like this. So it being in the browser was absolutely essential, because it means we can jump on it anywhere from any device, you know, anywhere in the world. So so that was absolutely critical. And then secondly, you know, that it has this open API, you know, so we can connect it. We were constrained with our old system, with its, you know, its connectivity, because, you know, any application is never ever going to do everything that you want. So you're then going to have to at some point maybe integrate it with a third-party tool. So then having that open handshake API is absolutely critical.
Yeah, and I think that was, I mean, there's a bunch of other questions here, but that was probably one thing. One system isn't going to be able to do everything. So that whole concept of a really an integrated solution is what's key.
And I think I can see the one there at the very bottom from David, and did your staff need a higher level of skill? I think that was also another really critical thing with all of this whole project is how do we simplify, how do we dumb this down to so IQ is really great like that. It removed, you know, the setup of IQ is far more complex than our original system, but then it has simplified that process from a user perspective. So it allows us to take on people with different skills that don't necessarily have to have as much kind of print knowledge, and we get consistency because of the way in which it quotes. So that, you know, that was absolutely another critical part, because again, listening to the voice of our customer, that was one of the things that we used to get back. Well, you know, when Johnny's on holiday, that the other account manager gives me a kind of different price. Why? Whereas we don't get that. We don't get that anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely fantastic. There's some really great insights, I think, that you've shared, Rob, and I know both the team from printIQ and myself really appreciate you giving up your time to share your experience, as I'm sure everybody on the webinar does as well. Just to kind of keep to our promised time, I just want to say thank you again for joining us, and to both Rob and to everybody on the call. As I said, we've got short videos. I can provide any other information, as I'm sure Craig can, if you need some further information about what's possible.
Yep, and we are recording this, so we will be making it available for anyone who might have missed it, or if you'd like to go back and review what was said. We're also keeping track and notes of all the questions that were asked that we might not have fully got to, and we've got your contact information, so we'll definitely be following up for those to continue those discussions. And if you think of anything else, like Kylie said, we're all here to help answer those questions.
Sounds good. Well, I think that's a wrap, everybody. Thank you very much for attending, and yeah, we'll be in touch.